Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Josh, and today you guys are in luck because I've got not just one, but two dashcam videos going live at exactly the same time. This is one of them. You'll see the other one on the channel if you didn't also get a notification about that. It does not matter what order you watch these in. Today is all about choose your own adventure, or if only one of them interests you, then just go and watch that one. But today we're going to be talking all about Garmin dash cams because I have recently bought a new one. This is the new Garmin Mini 3. I've been testing this out here in the Civic, which is the car that we're sitting in. And then of course we have many of these and we'll talk about that as well. But I also happen to have an X310 that I bought late last year or earlier this year, I believe. And this is Garmin's first 4K, very high-end dash cam, very expensive as well. And so in this video, we're going to be talking just about the Mini 3. And then in the second video, we'll talk about, or the other video rather, we'll talk about Mini 3, Garmin's cheapest dash cam, versus X310, Garmin's most expensive dash cam. And we'll do a compare and contrast with footage and all that kind of thing. So with all that said, again, check out both videos, or just one if you're interested in only one. But let's go ahead in this video and get into the Mini 3. Now, if you've been with me here on the channel in the past, you'll probably know that I have a love-hate relationship with these the dash cam mini products. This is the Mini 3. It is a third generation. The first two were in a more vertical form factor. The new Mini 3 is in a horizontal form factor, but it's basically the same product as the other minis. So we've got a real slim form factor. There's no display. There's only one or two buttons here on the camera. SD card is there on the bottom. And in general, my issue with the Mini 3s have been, or Mini series as a whole, in order to achieve this like teeny tiny form factor, Garmin has had to cut out a lot of the feature content that you'd find in one of their more high-end dash cams, or even many other dash cams that are maybe at a similar price point on the market. So in a mini camera, whether we're talking Mini 3, Mini 2, original Mini 1, you're not going to get a screen on the back. Okay, so no display. That means you are fully reliant on the Garmin mobile app, which is not bad by dashcam app standards, but it's not great. I find that just some of the UX and UI in there is kind of weird in the way you do things. And personal preference, personal opinion, I don't even like when a car is reliant on, a mobile app to unlock all of its functionality, much less a dash cam. So that is one reason why I've not really loved these mini series cameras in general. The second one is, again, in order to achieve this teeny tiny form factor, which is really nice. So if you like the teeny tiny form factor, not hating on that, I'm just hating what it took to get there. You also omit things like an internal power source, so battery or supercapacitor. Doesn't have either one of them. And what that means is, unlike some other cameras, like again the higher end cameras, this thing can't really wake up, if you will, if let's say your car is turned off in a parking lot and it gets hit. So other dash cams, if they detect a jolt in the car through either an accelerometer or a gyroscope, they will wake up, start recording whatever's going on around the car, and that will allow you to figure out, who bumped you or what happened. And it's a really nice feature to have that this camera by itself does not have. Now you can get, and what I use in all of our cars is the OBD2 adapter. I'll put a picture of that and a link in the description below. Garmin calls it a constant power cable. So what it does is you have a dongle that plugs into your OBD2 port, and then you run from there the USB cable to the camera. The problem with that, with these Mini 3 cameras, or mini series cameras in general, however, is because it's constant power and the camera doesn't have the hardware or intelligence to only be able to record incidents that happen while the car is off, what you end up with is this continuous stream of footage. So if you park your car, overnight, you're going to get 12 hours of just whatever is in front of the car. It's drawing power unnecessarily. And then let's say that there was an event that you forgot to pull off the camera the day before that you really wanted to keep. The way that dash cams work is they're going to rewrite old footage. And if you're recording 13 hours of the back of your garage door, something from the day or the day before that you were hoping to keep on the memory card is now gone. So a lot of compromises with these small cameras in order to achieve this teeny tiny form factor. With that said, the reason I spent my own money on this camera was because of the car that it's in. So we are sitting in our 2023 Honda Civic, so very small, kind of compact sedan. And so there's a limited amount of space on the windshield where I can put this teeny tiny camera. And then on top of that, because we live here in Texas, we always, no matter whether we're going into a store for 10 minutes or, we're parking the car on the street for a whole day, we will always put a sunshade up. And one of the things I've always found to be kind of frustrating with sunshades and dash cams is the cutout right here gets in the way of installing a dash cam in your car. Because the Civic's windshield is so small, I needed a dash cam that was small enough that it could kind of fit like sort of behind the mirror housing and all the ADAS sensors and still be able to put a sunshade up. So in that respect, it works well for this particular use case, but because I had all those different constraints in this tiny car with this, relatively small windshield. The thing to know about this Civic is we adopted this car from my late mother, who already banged it out. So if this car in particular, were to get hit in a parking lot, I'm not really going to be upset about it. And so I didn't feel like I needed that kind of surveillance the way that I want with my Lexus GX460 or our brand new Ford Mustang GT, which are those are the cars that we really, really love and care about. If you're looking for a dash cam for a car that, again, you love and you care about and you want all the recordings of all the things, this is not going to do that for you. So cut this off your list immediately and go get either the X110, X210, or X310. With that said, for what it is and for the price point, I don't think this is a bad product. It's the bare minimum for what you need. It's 1080p, it's got decent night vision, it does great daytime vision, and then the thing about the new generation, so Mini3, X110, X210, and X310 cameras, Garmin actually put standard on all these cameras, so not an accessory you have to buy or anything like that, a polarized filter on this lens. So when this camera is looking out at the road and you're in bright daylight and stuff like that, the highlights are not going to get blown out of the video the way that they used to on certain other cheaper Garmin cameras. The one thing I will say though that was kind of unusual and kind of strange to me, and I'm not entirely sure if it's just this camera or if it's the Mini3 as a whole, I did find that nighttime footage was not as good as the Mini2 and the older Garmin 47 camera with, again, that same 1080p sensor. So we have actually two Garmin 47 cameras in our household, and I feel like that camera actually does give you better night footage. It doesn't have as much noise as this new Mini3 does. The image felt a little bit clearer and more crisp. Something about the footage coming off of that 47 and the old Mini2 was just better. Now, my suspicion, just kind of, having had a bunch of these and knowing a lot about these cameras and how they record, there's more image processing going on here. So what I've seen in a lot of smartphones, for example, these camera makers in general are doing a lot with AI and image signal processing and things to try to make the image look better, but in turn that just kind of, it ends up making things look softer, more artificial, you get kind of more artifacting and more noise. So that could be what's going on here, but either way, I was kind of disappointed by that. Now, is it unusable for night footage? Absolutely not. It's, exactly what I would expect to get from a, $100 range dash cam. And let's say that you got into an accident in the evening after dark, you're going to get all the detail that you need. I'm just a little bit disappointed though, because I have older models that seem to perform a little bit better. And finally, the last reason I love Garmin dash cams, and I've talked about this before, so if you've already heard me say this in another video, I apologize that this is repetitive, but Garmin is the only brand that I've ever tried that can withstand the heat and the elements and the wild temperature swings that we get here where I live. Now, I live here in Texas, so during the summer it is hot AF. During the winter it can be, we can stay below freezing for weeks at a time, and I've never had one fail. We've had our oldest one now for about 3 years, and it's still running just as well as it did the day it was new. The image sensor itself, which is, again, these things are exposed to sunlight, especially the way we park two of our cars outside all the time. These things are exposed to elements on a daily basis. I mean, these things are getting hit with UV and heat and direct sunlight for, I would say, probably at this point in the year, 16 hours a day. And the image signal on our oldest camera has not degraded one bit. So hardware quality on Garmin's is excellent. All right, and finally, like I always do with all of my dash cam videos, what I'm going to put in here now is a sample reel of footage with no talking over top, so you can focus on the image that you're seeing on your screen. I'm going to take you to work with me in the morning before the sun has risen, and then because I work kind of a hybrid schedule, I come home midway through the day, and so you'll come home with me in full daylight. You get to see everything that the camera was recording and capturing throughout the day, and you'll be able to make a decision for yourself, I think, based on that, of what you think of the image quality and things like that. One thing I do have to tell you, of course, as always, with footage that I'm uploading to YouTube does have compression algorithms that run in the background to optimize streaming on your device. So don't necessarily take the quality of footage you're seeing in the YouTube video as exactly what's coming. Don't assume that that's exactly what comes out of the camera. This is just here to kind of be a guide. However, if you want to see exactly what came out of this camera, the other thing I'm going to do that I haven't done in the past that some of you guys have asked for when I do these kind of videos is I'm actually going to link a Google Drive folder down in the description below. And from there, you can actually grab like the actual video file. So if you want to see that without, again, YouTube's compression and any other artifacting that streaming might introduce, you can do that. So check that out in the description. I hope you enjoy. And again, if you haven't already checked out the other video, go check that out when you're done with that. Thanks for watching.